Hello guys, Chris here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing the Radeon RX 6700 XT in Armored Core 6. This one is the Sapphire Pulse edition of the card. We are running it with the latest AMD drivers, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Ups. GPU zWORMz as bar is also enabled, or AMD SAM. And over on the left, we're pairing it with the Ryzen 7 5800X 3D and 32GB of RAM, CL14 3600 MHz in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? First of all, let's go over the settings. We're starting at 1080p, but I'm also going to test this at 1440p and 4K. Frame rate limit is set to 120. You can't really unlock it, at least not that I know of. VSync is off, HDR is off, and on the quality settings, I set it to the maximum settings in the game, but I disabled the motion blur as well as the ray tracing quality here. And I'm also going to try out some ray tracing at the end of this video, but I don't think it's going to perform very well with the 6700 XT. Let's get into the game now. The first thing that I noticed is that this is really smooth, guys. It doesn't really stutter too much, and if it does, it's not really that noticeable. So that's a breath of fresh air compared to everything that we've seen in 2023, basically. Okay, yeah, look at that frame time graph. I couldn't believe my eyes when I started this at first. This is pretty damn good in terms of frame time stability. Now, the second thing that I noticed is that it doesn't look like native resolution. If you look at the distance, everything is really blurry and soft. I don't really like the look on a smaller monitor at 1080p resolution. Of course, it will look okay, and I'm not really seeing a lot of people complaining about this in forums and so on, but yeah, that's something that I noticed right away. Even setting it to 4K, which is my native resolution in this monitor, it doesn't look very sharp. Could it be depth of field? I actually haven't tried to mess around with that setting, so maybe I'll give it a shot. Let me just skip the cutscene here. Let's see, depth of field. Let's set that to off. Hopefully it's gonna fix it. Yes! Yes! It does fix it. Oh my gosh. Alright, don't use depth of field in this one. It looks really bad at the distance. Anyway, let's continue playing the game, start counting the FPS once again. This is a slightly more intensive area, I guess. And I'm just starting the game, by the way. I haven't really played much of it, only that tutorial part so far. So yeah, just bear with me if I die here. Anyway, with all of the explosions, fire effects and so on, it still doesn't drop FPS like at all, almost. I am super happy because we finally got a game that doesn't stutter in 2023. This is an outlier. Every game should run like this in terms of frame time consistency, but they don't. Right, so I guess all we need to do now is kill all of these robots, maybe? You move so fast, it's really interesting. I like it. But the FOV could be a bit higher. Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay, how do I deal with this? There are so many explosions happening right now. Jesus! I'm gonna stop it there, and we're gonna test it out at 1440p next. For that, I will actually need to change the resolution in the desktop as well. To change the resolution, I noticed that you can't have the screen scale set to anything above 100%, otherwise it will also scale inside of the game and not run at your native resolution, so keep that in mind. Now it's 2560 by 1440. Here we go, menu time, 2560 by 1440, still using the exact same settings. Okay, we're back in this area again because of the restart, but let's play it through. You can see some beautiful explosions once again. Look at that. This is still really smooth and really playable, guys, at 1440p max settings. And the game defaulted to high as well. Don't know why, because it can clearly handle it at maximum settings preset without ray tracing. But the preset also doesn't have ray tracing enabled, so that's fine. Looking at the city, 70-something frames per second. That's pretty good. Look at 1% lows. Perfect 1% lows as well. Keep on going, 60. Oh boy, okay, so the 1% lows finally dropped now. Still not super intensive. I think they optimized the explosions and everything pretty well, guys. Because it doesn't drop too much. Yeah, as long as it doesn't drop from 60, it's fine, I think. It's not going to be a super high refresh rate experience anymore like it was at 1080p. Well, at 1080p it wasn't super high, but I could feel the extra frames for sure. But yeah, 100 frames per second is definitely a lot smoother than 80 frames per second. Still, I don't think you're going to notice the slowdowns, especially because it's not really a first-person shooter, you know. It's going to be really great. I'm getting hit? Actually, from there. Oh, what is that? That's a cube. What? Oh no, it's just a shield. Okay. It's still not the sharpest thing in the world at the distance, but it looks way better without that depth of field. Also, if you have been playing this game and you saw a more intensive area than this, please let me know. And let me know how long it takes for you to get there, because I'd like to test it in the most intensive scenario. I guess from what we've seen so far, it doesn't really change by all that much. But maybe in a map with like vegetation and stuff, it might become a little bit more intensive. I don't know. But that's something that we'll find out once we benchmark the game on more GPUs, or if somebody tells us, of course. So far, so good, though. This being the 6700 XT, I think it's really adequate for 1440p gaming. Even though we are getting less FPS than 1080p, I think the experience is superior at this resolution, because first of all, it's still well above 60 the entire time, and second, it's way more detailed. Okay, stop it there, and we are gonna try it at 4K resolution next. See, it didn't really change the resolution. You gotta do it in the desktop. 3840 by 2160 res, using the exact same settings here, no ray tracing. I wonder if ray tracing is gonna make a big difference, because we got a lot of water or reflective surfaces at least in this particular map. I think it's water, right? It's moving there. So yeah, that will be interesting to take a look at 1080p. At 4K, well, things become a bit too intensive. VRAM usage is still well under control. Even at 4K resolution, it's below 8 gigabytes. Let me take a look at textures a bit closer here. Yeah, that, you know, those don't look really impressive. Again, it's not a game that looks super impressive aside from the fire effects and explosions. But in my opinion, even if it's not the prettiest title out there, if it runs well, I'll take it. You know, and I actually didn't test the Immortals of Avium, first of all because it's a €60 title, second because it has 500 players peak. You know, when it released. That's really sad. This one is at 130,000 right now. Space while on catapult vertical launch. Oh boy! Alright, there we go. Oh, okay, so let's go this way, I guess. Continue. So it's still playable at 4K. It's a third-person game, but it's a shooter, so you might want 60 plus FPS all of the time still. But I could live with this. Like, the input lag isn't really insane either. It's just normal 50 FPS input lag. It's not like in CSGO, for example, where the input lag matters a lot. And you get really high input lag even with like 100 frames per second. You need like 150 plus in that game. In this one, it feels alright here, even with these FPS, but I think we should probably try it with the high settings preset instead of maximum. Okay, at 4K, you will need to adjust a few settings here and there, so let's just disable depth of field once again and the motion blur and see how it plays. Apparently you don't need to restart the game. Yep, it's applying everything. Still dropping into the 50s sometimes. Oh my god, this is hard now. Oh boy, okay, let's shoot the bastard, let's go. Ooh, look at the explosions and stuff. I am really low HP, am I not? Yes, I just died. Oh boy. Whoa, whoa, what the hell? Such huge explosions when you die, that's amazing. Back at it again. Let me just take a look at the entire city from above at high settings, and then we're gonna lower it down to medium. Yeah, this is not really more intensive than what we were seeing. See? This is optimization. You're looking at an entire city and getting pretty much the same FPS as looking at this big blob of cement or whatever. Or just looking at the ground doesn't really give you much more FPS either, you know? That's nice, guys. Let's see medium settings now. I'm gonna disable the same couple of settings here. All right. I don't think you need to restart the game to fully apply everything. Yeah, even the textures apply, so you don't really need to do that. But one thing that I'm not really liking too much is that it's not changing the FPS by too much when you lower the quality settings, unfortunately. Oh boy. Okay, so it's not a good idea to go melee. Still dropping into the 50s at times on medium settings. Oh, damn it. No, I'm gonna die again. This is really hard. I took like, what? 5 HP off of him, and I'm dead. Why does the game start like this? Okay, I just restarted the game, right? Just to make sure that it fully applies the settings now. VRAM usage went down. It was at 7 gigs previously. We're still at 4K medium settings. Yeah, I mean, it's already dropping into the 50s here. And this is not really too intensive, I think. Compared to the city area, at least it's a little bit less intensive. And this is medium settings still, okay, after a restart, so you don't need to restart to apply settings in this one, guys. Okay, I'm gonna try it on low next. It doesn't look too different. I can see that there's quite a bit less detail, for example, on the ground. And the reflections are lower quality. The explosions still look great on low, though. And the smoke effects, they're okay as well. I mean, it's not worlds different in terms of graphics, and it's not worlds different in terms of performance either. 1% lows are already at 59. I don't think it dropped that far. It was probably like a micro stutter or me just going into a menu like this. Okay, getting 70s here. Sometimes 80 frames per second. Alright, these are big boys here, guys. Let's go. Kill them. Come on. Shoot the bastard. Shoot the bastard. They got a lot of armor as well, I think. But look at how smooth that is. Damn. And it still looks really decent. And once again, if you're not seeing things side by side between low and the ultra settings, you wouldn't say that this is low and the other settings were ultra, right? Like, even the water looks pretty similar. So I think if I was playing this game at 4K with this GPU, I would actually choose low settings. Even though ultra was still playable, I think the extra few FPS that you get that are enough to put you above 60 most of the time at least are worth the visual trade-off. Lastly, I set it back to 1080p resolution, set it to maximum preset again, gonna disable these two, and I'm gonna enable ray tracing on high. Okay, I'm not gonna do maximum RT considering this is 6700 XT. And we're gonna restart the game once again to make sure that ray tracing fully applies. Alright guys, so we're supposedly using ray tracing now, but we're actually not using ray tracing. I'll explain. We're playing at 1080p using maximum settings with these off. Maximum ray tracing, but it only applies to the garage. I don't think I have gotten to the garage yet, but it's probably not a playable zone. It's kind of like Forza Horizon 5 with the Vista mode. That's where ray tracing kicks in as well. So when you're actually playing the game, ray tracing won't be enabled. That's a bit of a shame because there were quite a lot of reflective surfaces in the other map where we were playing. So yeah, I'd like to have seen ray tracing actually inside of the game. I think the lighting would look insane with all of these explosions and so on, and the reflections as well, but we don't have that here. Maybe it will come with another update, but for now, it only works in the garage, unfortunately. So that's been it for this one, my friends. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you have a 6700 XT, feel free to buy the game. It's gonna be really enjoyable. No performance issues here with this GPU. Catch you in the next one very soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.